Admiral Zektar's three eyes focused on the holographic display floating before his command chair, each pupil dilating independently as he processed the impossible readings. The Galactic Council's first contact protocols had been refined over millennia, tested across hundreds of species integrations. Never, not once in the recorded history of the galaxy, had they encountered readings like these. "Sensor Officer Velnix, run a full diagnostic on the detection array," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of authority that had guided the Andromedan fleet through countless diplomatic missions. "These readings cannot be accurate." The insectoid officer's compound eyes shimmered as she manipulated the holographic controls with 6 delicate appendages. "Admiral, I've run 17 diagnostics. The systems are functioning at optimal capacity. The human vessel—" She paused, mandibles clicking nervously. "It's unlike anything in our databases." Zektar's middle eye fixed on the tactical display, where a single red dot approached their position near the edge of what the humans called the solar system. The Galactic Council had been monitoring Earth for decades, watching the bipedal primates develop nuclear technology, crude spaceflight, and primitive communication systems. When humanity's first interstellar probe had been detected 3 months ago, the Council had determined it was time for formal contact. The standard protocol was elegant in its simplicity. Approach with a single diplomatic vessel, demonstrate peaceful intent through universal mathematical transmissions, and gradually introduce the new species to galactic civilization. The Council's ship, Harmony's Voice, carried a crew of 12 diplomats from 6 different species, each an expert in xenopsychology and cultural integration. What was approaching them now defied every assumption they'd made about human technological capability. "Mass displacement readings?" Zektar asked, though part of him dreaded the answer. 15.7 million metric tons, sir." Velnix's voice carried a tremor that set Zektar's scales on edge. "For comparison, our vessel displaces 43,000 tons. Commander Thol Pass, the reptilian tactical officer, swiveled his elongated neck toward the Admiral. "Sir, if these readings are accurate, the human vessel outmasses our entire first contact fleet by a factor of 37. Its energy signature—" He paused, running a forked tongue across his scaled lips. "It's running at less than 2% capacity, and it's still generating more power than our main reactor at full burn." The silence that followed was broken only by the soft humming of the ship's environmental systems. Zektar's training kicked in, years of diplomatic experience guiding his thoughts. Perhaps the readings were misleading. Perhaps the humans had simply built an enormous cargo vessel, prioritizing size over efficiency, as many primitive civilizations did when they first achieved interstellar capability. That theory crumbled when Lieutenant Quar Lin, their communications officer, looked up from her station with all 4 of her tentacles trembling. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. The humans, they're speaking perfect galactic standard." "Impossible," breathed Dr. Meredith, the ship's xenolinguist. Her crystalline form pulsed with confusion. "No species achieves linguistic compatibility without decades of cultural exchange. Our first universal translation matrices require—" "Put it through," Zektar interrupted. The main display flickered, and suddenly they were looking at a human face. The biped appeared middle-aged by their standards, with graying hair and clear, intelligent eyes that seemed to take in every detail of their bridge despite the transmission delay. When he spoke, his words carried the easy confidence of someone accustomed to command. "Galactic Council Vessel Harmony's Voice, this is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force ship Indomitable Will. We received your mathematical sequences and appreciate your peaceful approach to first contact. Permission to come alongside for formal diplomatic exchange?" Zektar's throat sac inflated involuntarily, a sign of shock among his species. Not only were the humans speaking perfect galactic standard, but they had identified their ship by name. Information that should have been classified at the highest levels of Council security. "How do they know our vessel designation?" whispered. Commander Tholpass. Dr. Meredith's crystalline form brightened as realization dawned. Admiral, review the transmission timestamp. The human responded to our mathematical sequences 14 seconds after we sent them. That's impossible, Velnix chittered. We're currently 37 light minutes from their position. Even assuming instantaneous processing, the signal delay alone. They're not broadcasting from the approaching vessel, Zektar realized, his blood turning cold. There's already a human ship in this system. Has been for... He turned to his tactical officer. How long have we been transmitting our approach vectors? Tholpass's claws danced across his console. 47 hours, sir. Standard first contact protocol calls for continuous peaceful intent broadcasts beginning at system entry. The implications hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. For nearly 2 standard days, humanity had been listening to their transmissions, analyzing their technology, learning their language, and tracking their movements. The approaching vessel wasn't responding to first contact, it was the response. Admiral Chen, Zektar managed, his voice steady despite the chaos in his mind. The Galactic Council extends greetings to humanity. We would be honored to arrange formal diplomatic exchange. The human's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes suggested she was aware of the effect her words had caused. Excellent. Indomitable will arrive at your position in 14 minutes. We've prepared a delegation appropriate for this historic occasion. Oh, and Admiral Zektar? She paused, and now there was definitely a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. You might want to recalibrate your sensors. We're actually running at full stealth configuration. You're only detecting about 12% of our actual mass. The transmission ended, leaving the council ship's bridge in absolute silence. Velnix was the first to speak, her voice barely above a whisper. Admiral, if their sensors can detect our classified vessel designations from beyond sensor range, and if their ship is 8 times larger than our readings indicate, then humanity, Zektar finished slowly, has been spacefaring much longer than we believed. And they've been watching us just as carefully as we've been watching them. As the indomitable will dropped out of whatever impossible form of faster-than-light travel it had been using, its true mass finally registering on their overwhelmed sensors, Zektar realized that this wasn't first contact at all. It was humanity's formal introduction to a galaxy they'd already been studying for decades. And every sensor reading, every impossible technological display, every casual demonstration of superiority had been carefully calculated to send one unmistakable message. Earth's children had grown up, and they were ready to take their place among the stars on their own terms. The age of humanity had begun.